Classroom Management Icebreakers. This is the third of 3 videos about classroom management. The first video talked about the first day of class. The second looked at how to start each class, and this one will explore icebreakers. As instructors, we put so much effort into preparing for class, we forget that our students may not have thought about English all day before they enter the room. In the previous video, we talked about being sure to start class with meaningful activities. That means that icebreakers or games will not always be appropriate ways to start a class. It will depend upon the language being used and the purpose. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Never use anything that you cannot explain the learning objective of. I learned the lesson painfully when I began teaching. I was trying to put together a class for teenage language learners. I had heard a teacher talking about a song, so I decided to teach it to the students and sing it in my class that day. It was a huge failure. The words of the songs were unusual and unlikely to be of use to the teens, and it didn't connect to anything else we had learned that day. The students knew it was not valuable learning time, and they chose to not participate. I was devastated, but I learned to always know what the learning purpose of an activity is. There are several reasons to use icebreakers or games in class. One is to improve the social interaction in class and lower affective filters. Getting students to share information with each other and/or getting them to interact with other classmates they normally don't will meet human need for social interaction. It will also help to create a safe environment where all the learners are working together for success instead of trying to point out mistakes. For these reasons, teachers almost always have some kind of icebreaker at the beginning of the semester. But I would encourage you to continue it regularly throughout the semester. I teach a lot of ESL classes with students from a variety of languages in them. What usually happens is that they form groups or cliques based upon the language spoken. Through games or icebreakers, I'm able to make sure they all spend time talking together in English and feel comfortable with everyone and not just their group of friends. Another reason to use icebreakers or games in class is to review or practice language. If every game is just meant to build camaraderie, many learners will not see the continued value of it. However, if at the same time the game can review or teach a language principle, then every student will understand the benefit. Sometimes I take icebreakers unrelated to language and adapt them so that they have a language purpose. For example, I've asked my class before to line up in order from oldest to youngest. Then I have them organized from tallest to shortest, then form groups of females and males, etc. Then we review the various methods of organizing essays. I asked them which group was an example of chronological order, which was based upon a descriptive order, and which was comparing 2 groups. Other times, the games are clearly language-based. For example, when studying prefixes, suffixes, and the root or stem of words, we'll play a competitive game where groups have to write down as many words as they can create from the various word parts that we've already learned. The last reason for icebreakers or games I want to discuss now is their ability to focus the learner's thoughts on the current class. Whether children or adults, many of them will come to class with worries on their minds or for reasons other than learning. Having a fun educational activity can help them forget stresses in their real life and thus prepare their brain for learning. In my experience, the sooner I can get students to laugh or at least smile, the sooner they'll be able to learn something new. By the way, there's a great website full of ESL games at iteslj.org/games. That's iteslj.org/games. It's a great place for new teachers. In review, icebreakers and games need to always have educational purposes. Some possible objectives can be providing social interaction, lowering affective filters, and creating a safe and comfortable learning environment. They can also be used for language review or to introduce a new language point. Finally, they can be used to focus students' minds on the day's lesson.